Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Okay, my friends, it's time once again to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. This morning in Studio 1A, we have Cacique in the house. Morning, brother. How are you?
Stan, I'm doing wonderful, man. It's just been a great day already. So I'm really happy to be here. And good morning to all our listeners and our viewers, and blessings to everyone. Have a great week. Have a great day. Make the best of your day, family.
Absolutely. We got you listed as the community analyst. Community analyst. That means you are in touch, knowing exactly what's happening in and around the greatest city on earth, New England. It's Rising Star, Hartford.
I agree. I love our city, Stan. I think we have so much talent here and so many good people here that want to do the right thing. And we just, we want to create that opportunity for them.
So what's happening, brother?
Well, Stan, as you know, the main thing for me is always going to be, education and the way that, these politicians are moving, how they're doing stuff. And now, we have this election coming up, and so many people are allegedly running. Some of them are candidates. We've mentioned some, and I'm gonna jump right in, Stan. I'm just gonna tell you, I've seen that announcement by Eric Coleman. That brother need to stay home, man. He look old, tired, and haphazard, And, for me, and there's no disrespect. I'm just calling it like I see it, right?
That's what we do. It's morning talk. We hold no punches, and as
observers.
As observers, I'm trying to. He get mad at me that I can't think of his name, but that comes with age. Charles, as my brother Charles says, the undisputed truth. AccessTV.org. The undisputed truth. Charles Barrow.
Oh, Charles, yes. One of our elders.
Yeah, so, we got to keep it real all the time. And so we call balls and strikes, as they say.
So anyway, no disrespect to Eric. I respect the fact that he, has made some observations that he wants to address. But, we don't need that. What we need for mayor, I'm putting it out right now, a young person of color who is unattached to any political party, community-oriented, and like our elder Eugenio Caro would say, homegrown, right? Homegrown. That means he's from Hartford, has family and roots in Hartford, and is a listener. I need the community to send me some names right now. Because I'm going to put one out there. I'm going to give you the first name.
First name.
That comes to mind when I went to meet those qualifications, right? Dean Jones.
Dean Jones. Okay, let's go through. So that's okay. Go on.
So that's a young brother. Mm-hmm. He's a young lion, like we say, right? Mm-hmm. He is magnificent. Right now, we had him on the show a couple times. The last time we had him on, he talked about how he's working on 2 national initiatives. Okay? And he's been magnificent. He's done the Hoop Wave basketball tournament here, who's been very successful and has impacted many, many young people positively. He's done the Peace Builders, where he was out in the street. He's a hands-on guy. You know, he's a guy who has the beat of the street, and he's also a guy who's very comfortable in the meeting rooms, in the board rooms, because he's done it also in order for him to be able to fund what he does. So he has to be comfortable working at the board level, like they say, and then working at the community level. So that's just one young person. We have others, but I'm not going to put their names out. I want the community to give us some names of young people of color who have no political ties, who are not beholden to any political party. Okay. And who have, the interests of the community in mind. All right. So Stan, do you have a name?
I for obvious reasons have to stay neutral on this.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I don't want to
That's just the way the game is played.
Sound like make it a burden. As president of the Greater Harvard African American Alliance, the organization is contemplating perhaps endorsing someone this year.
Okay.
Which means there will be a process by which we give the endorsement. So I have to stay like super neutral.
Okay.
Until such time as that process has played out. Anyone else in the organization can promote, endorse whoever they want, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. So too much is given.
So for you to say somebody's name, that would be an endorsement.
No. I could throw out names. I just said I have to be careful on how I do it. So I just did a disclaimer so that I could drop a couple of names.
Throw them right now, Stan.
Right. So, but before we get to that, this is because I want to stick with the first name that you put out there, Dean. Now, didn't Dean run? He was going to run for the 4th.
No, I don't. No, he never ran. I don't think he ever ran for anything.
I think his name was floating around.
It might have been. But I don't think it actually happened, Stan.
Yeah. Okay. So now, before we start dropping names, because we got time. We got 90 minutes. So before we start dropping names, I think you and I should lay down some criteria. I'm most anxious to hear from you because you're eyes, ears, and you're in touch with the community. And I know this to be true. Because the day of or the day after the event in East Hartford, you told me exactly what happened. And I had someone doubt. I said, don't doubt Lou. Don't doubt Lou.
Cacique.
Yeah. Don't doubt him. So, and it was spot on. I knew that already, but someone had questioned it. So, you have eyes and ears, as they say, fingers in many pies.
I got to be honest with you, Stan. I don't know if that's even remotely true.
I think it is.
Because what I do, Stan, is I just make observations.
But Lou, you got
and then I make Then I make comments.
Right, but you have
based on those observations.
You can't make a comment on something that you haven't observed. And so to make a comment about a thing, you must be near a thing, around a thing.
Yes.
From community chess games to backroom decisions for the next superintendent. That's pretty roundabout.
But I got to tell you something, Stan. And this is going to sound, maybe it's going to sound crazy to people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are, whatever, I don't really care, you know. But, you know, a lot of the stuff that I get, Stan, I do make observations.
Mm-hmm.
But the decisions that I make to speak on things, a lot of times are, you know, messages that are from my ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they compel me, you know, to say things because it's important from our perspective, you know, from the regular folk. I'm a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just work for a living or, you know, whatever I do, right? But I know how things impact me. The decisions that politicians and bureaucrats make, I know how they impact me. And if they impact me like that, then they're going to impact all the other so-called regular people out there the same way.
I agree with you 100%. Now, my stated, it doesn't matter to me who's running. I have to always pause because I have to wheel it in and not become hyper passionate about this. They're applying for a job. They want to work for me. I don't see it the other way around. I
love the
I'm
way
I'm a constituent.
I love the way you roll that out, brother.
I'm a
man.
constituent. I'm at the top of the political food chain, not the bottom. Stuff
Yes.
doesn't roll down to us; it rolls down from us.
Yes.
And that only becomes actualized when the constituents demand nothing but the best. So these guys are all applying for a job. Period.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
But there are factors in the job. You know, just like anything. If you want to be a welder, you know, do you know how to weld? What is acetylene? You know,
Yes.
you know what is oxygen? I mean, some basic things. How do you, what's TIG welding and all this other stuff? So the person wants to be mayor. What do you think are the qualifications to be mayor of Hartford? What would you say? I mean, because the community component is to me, it's an important component. It's like you look at the job resume and it says, you know, must have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. You know, there's certain things associated with that or equivalent experience. Sometimes they'll say, must be a PhD. So what must one be in order to be Hartford? To me, community is one of those degrees, maybe like associate. You got to have an associate level of awareness and practice of interacting, because you mentioned that about Dean. All right. But as much as I am not a party guy, and I'm glad to be known as not a party guy, because on Channel 8, I got a big up from Brandon McGee. He mentioned me on the Channel 8 last week.
Okay.
And because they were asking about people running, he says, well, you know, he said last time, you know, you got Stan McCauley, but, you know, I don't know whether he's a Republican, whether he's a Democrat. That's good. I take that as a badge of honor.
That's excellent, brother.
Because folk don't know what I might do.
That's a
ever.
feather in your cap, like they
right.
say.
I want to always be, what am I going to do? You won't know till it's done.
Right.
Having said that, the party's real. The party is real. It runs things. So my question to everyone that's running, and you to a degree now, is how do you navigate the concerns of the community while navigating the demands of the party that puts you in office?
Well, I think the first thing, Stan, is that the party is as real as we make it. So if the community decides that the party is not that real, then we will see the power that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to say, once again, the community with 400 people demanded of the mayor and other politicians that there be a change in superintendent. 400 people. And it happened. And then the same 400 people demanded who the next mayor was, superintendent was going to be, and it happened. So I just want to start that answer off with that, okay? And so I think that just having an inner understanding of doing the right thing, what the right thing is one of the prerequisites. So being a good person, being known as a good person, as a decent person, as a caring and a loving person, those are all good qualities to have. And also the tenacity to know when people are trying to trick you, or get over on you, or get one over on you, or manipulate you. Those are all good qualities, and those qualities are going to be strengthened and emboldened by the community. So I wrote some things here about what the next mayor should look like, and I stated them earlier, but I'm going to state them again. It should be a young person of color, unattached. That doesn't mean that you don't understand the machinations of the political system.
There you go.
Doesn't mean you're ignorant. I said unattached. Okay, I just want to repeat that because words matter, right? We understand that,
yeah,
right? Once again, like our magnificent elder Eugenio Caro would say, homegrown. Homegrown. That means that he's either born in Hartford or has been in Hartford from a young age. I wasn't born in Hartford. I came here when I was 7. But I consider myself homegrown because I spent all these years here, right? So someone like that, a young person, maybe in their 20s or 30s, community-oriented. That means that he is from the community and understands, he or she understands the needs of the community. And there's different communities in Hartford, right?
Yes,
but there's one big community, okay? And he is willing to sit down with different community groups, organizations, and listen to what their concerns are. But also be aware of the needs in terms of the business community and things like that. Because we have magnificent young people like that, that meet all those qualifications and more. So, but for me, the most important thing is unattached. Because just being attached, and I want to be clear about this, just being attached to either political party makes you a supporter of white supremacy and racism, because that's what both political parties do. So instead of jumping around and prancing around, and I just want to get to the bottom of it. That's what you do when you vote for anyone, black, white, red. You vote for a Martian, right? You are supporting white supremacy and racism. So we have to think about how we engage with the political system as people of color. We have to rethink that. It's not that easy anymore, Stan. It's not about that anymore. And we're seeing systems collapsing right now. And we have people in place that can make, I wish the NBA would the players would stop playing because of what happened to Kyrie. Because you will see a complete paradigm shift in the way that people of color are engaged in this country and around the world. One little move like that but we need people to have, to have the courage to do that.
Courage. You said when you said that about the NBA and Kyrie, it's something flashed through my mind. That there really is a system, and I think that I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble for saying this. But do you expect slaves to act any different than they do?
Well, first of all,
because one could suggest that it's a plantation system, but
it's not a suggestion, Stan.
It is. Okay, so it's
there's no suggestion.
So no suggestion.
I'm just surprised that a magnificent brother like you is fearful or has some type of feeling about expressing that, on the show or on the air, like they would say. Well,
I am expressing it.
Yeah.
So
with trepidation.
To suggest that a thing is, I'm not fearful. The pushback comes from friends. That's all. I'm not like someone. I'm just saying.
So you may have to rethink the definition of friend.
No. I have friends from across the spectrum. The whole gambit of bad human behavior is incorporated in many of my friends. So I don't judge people,
including me.
Right. That should be obvious, Lou. No. No, but so if you have somebody like him, makes these big statements, then he backs down. Someone came in and slapped him around, and he got back in line. If you get back in line rather than leave the plantation, then you are on it. When you have an opportunity, when you're given an opportunity to leave the plantation, and you don't, then you've been captured by the system. So the NBA, you talk about systems breaking down. The systems can't exist without all of its components. You take a spark plug out of the engine and it doesn't run anymore.
So here's a question that I would ask.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the thing that's going around social media now is that the people who claim to be Jews today are not real Jews. The real Hebrews are Africans, black Africans, right? So I think that if that's the case, how is the NBA and the so-called Jews going to walk that back? If they have to say Kyrie was right, or a lot of the information in that video was correct, some of it is not, right? But say that some of that information is correct. How does the NBA walk that back? How do you take back the 5-day or 10-day suspension?
Well,
so what happened to Kyrie happens to a lot of black and brown people.
No,
right?
No,
I decided,
right, but
I decided, brother, when I was in New Britain, when I was in Hartford, right? I decided that I was gonna, see what the people was gonna do, and I had no support from black or brown people in Hartford, right? When I was in New Britain, it was the same thing. I had no support for black and brown people. And the same people that you talking about is going to be upset with you about saying that is the same people that refuse to support me. So I understand why Kyrie did that. I just walked out, right? He had an opportunity. You're right. Kyrie had an opportunity to say, and he didn't because he had no support. There isn't one NBA player that supported him. One.
Right, but he doesn't need support. You didn't have any support.
We need, right, but Stan, but I had things in place. Right? I was in a position where I could walk off my job and not worry about what would happen financially.
So
how many black and brown people do we know that can do that?
Kyrie is one of them. That's the point we're not talking about.
I agree with you, Stan. Right, I agree. Right. In the end, it looks like he's sold out. I agree with you. He capitulated.
There you go. Ain't no doubt.
He capitulated.
Mm-hmm. If he was on the Underground Railroad, he would have left, and then halfway out, he'd have said, I need to rethink this. I need to go back. He would have got shot in the night.
But brother, there's many accounts of Harriet Tubman.
That's why I say he would have got shot in the night.
And others who tell stories about running away, having people, and then one or more of them talking about, no, I'm going back. Master gonna kill me. And they had to say to them, if you don't stop this foolishness, you ain't got to worry about the master because I'm going to kill you right here.
Right.
Because you're putting all of us in danger.
At risk.
You're putting all of us in danger of losing our lives. But let me say this about Kyrie and others. And it hurts me, my man. It pains me to say this on the air, man. But we have been trained like animals. That's our response, right? But brother, remember, when our people were on them slave ships, many of them chose to jump into that ocean,
right,
than to live this life. So we have been trained like animals, brother, to run, and when we're caught, we're forced to capitulate. Because that's what happened to Kyrie, brother. Kyrie ran away from the plantation. And when they caught him and they whipped him, because that's what they did. That's what social media, that's what the press, that's what black people did. Right? They beat him in public. And he had to say, Master, I'm sorry.
Well, see, no.
That's exactly what happened, brother.
No,
yes, brother.
No.
Because that's how he got to play again.
I understand that's how he got to play again. However, he made the conscious decision. As you aptly stated, many jumped into the sea rather than to be enslaved. They didn't capitulate. He capitulated because he wanted to keep his job, his fame, and his fortune. Bottom line. He could have left.
But I don't agree with that. Because here's the other thing that happens. And I've talked about this on this show.
Mm-hmm.
The way that white people get at us today is two ways. And it's very prominent. And you can see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is the denial of access. And our great teachers, John Henrik Clark, Benjo Cannon, Brother Abdul Muhammad Sr., Brother Mudaris Jihad, they all teach us this. They deny us access is first. That's the one. And then they criminalize us. And that's what happened to Kyrie. That's what happened. So I was different. I was in the same situation, right? But like I said, not many people were in my position where you can actually jump into the water because there's a boat that nobody knows about but you. So I had a little something that I can fall back on.
You jumped into the boat. I think that Kyrie has more than enough boats that he could jump into. More than enough. He never played basketball ever again in his life. He'd be good. He doesn't need.
He'd be good financially.
He'd be good financially. But you can't have it both ways. That's all I'm saying. He can't.
Brother, I agree. But I'm going to say this also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We up against a heartbreak.
Okay, we don't know what went into his decision. And I'm going to stay with that.
All right. We'll be right back.
Independent thinkers are Puerto Rican, Mexican, Peruvian, Indian, Bosnian, Italian, Irish, Jamaican, African American, European, straight, gay, Nigerian, transgender, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, short, tall, skinny, rich, poor, happy, sad. Some of us hold a PhD and others a GED. And though we may be Democrats, Republicans, or members of the Working Families Party, we all have escaped the plantation of party politics and become independent thinkers because we as individuals are more than a party. You see, independent thinkers come from all walks of life. And the one thing we all have in common is that we love, live, laugh, and learn in the city of Hartford. We are the constituents, and the government of Hartford belongs to us. My name is J. Stan McCauley. I'm an independent thinker, and I approve this message because it's time to stop towing the party line and vote for a candidate you can trust. You too can escape the plantation of party politics if you have the courage to free your political mind.
Hi, so my name is Nelky Maldonado.
My name is Ramon L. Arroyo.
And we know that Hartford Parent University provides good services and resources to parents in our communities, which are greatly needed because a lot of times our parents, they don't know where to go, how to get information, and being part of this program is essential to them in being successful in their children's education.
And I think that parents should get involved in their kids' education, because it's very important. Education is, I always believe, is a success in life. If you got a good education, you can be very successful.
So we encourage our parents to please come join the program, ask lots of questions, and I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. It's Morning Talk. I'm your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. Mondays, Jonathan Small is here. We jump to Wednesday. It's Cacique and Dr. Maya Bowen, who is doing some emergency substitute teaching this morning. And then on Fridays, it's Cleo Duke Wright. But every day at 8, every evening at 8, tune in for Morning Talk. There we go. We continue the conversation. Drop your comments in the chat if you have any. Let's see. Where's my? Here we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. We're back. There we go. We're good. I got too many mice up here.
And you know, Stan, we left off with the comment where I said that we don't know what went into making that decision. And I also want to say, man, that it's very lonely, it's frightening, it's stressful. You know, it just messes with your head, your physical, your mental, your spiritual when you're going through stuff like that. I went through that twice.
I've been
I'm
through
happy.
this.
I'm happy to share that, but I just want to say to all the black and brown people out there, man, you know, stop being full of it, man. And when you know that something's going on that's not right, speak up. And if one of us is being targeted and you know it, speak up. Show that brother or that sister some support. And, you know, and let's be professional. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's support each other out there, you know? And I just want to put this out there to our families out there. If you're having any problems at your school, with your principals, with your teachers, with the Board of Ed, and you need support, call me, because I'll show up. I'm familiar with, you know, education in Connecticut, and I'm familiar with the ways that, you know, that people try to use that to harm us by not giving us access to the things that we need and our children need so they can be successful. Mm-hmm. So call me. You know, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, and just reach out, and we'll come out and deal with, you know, with what it is. Because I want to support people. I want to show black and brown people what support really looks like. And it doesn't have to be monetary all the time. Making a phone call for somebody or showing up, you know. So, yeah, I just want to put that out there, man. It's a lonely, lonely road. But, you know, it also takes a lot of courage. So, you know, I take my hat off to all the people out there that are fighting the good fight every day and are trying to do the right thing. And that's all peoples.
So, the idea and notion of support. I was going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow at an event. I got to give a little 5-minute speech. And it was going to be centered around support. And what does support look like? You know, because I had this little phrase that we use, you know, we don't have the luxury of not working together. That's not a luxury we have. So likes, dislikes, isms, schisms, all the things that do so good at keeping us apart. That's not a luxury that we have as black and brown people. But what does support look like? Because oftentimes support is in the eye of the receiver or the requester. Because a lot of times people want support, but it's at your expense, not theirs. So what does support look like? One of our viewers says, "Why are we so fearful in supporting one another?" And so, what does support look like? Because a lot of times people may want support, but it's at your expense. They're not willing to support you, but they want you to support them. So it's not a mutually beneficial relationship. It's a relationship where you benefit them. So when people have
that's not support, Stan.
I don't think that's support.
I don't know what to call that, but support is something that, first of all, it is mutually beneficial to both parties.
Absolutely.
Because, for example, me supporting you today could lead to big benefits down the road for me. And I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. When I was in Hartford at the Board of Ed and I wanted to have some talks with the superintendent, and this is Beth Narvez, she just came out of her face and said, "I'm not going to meet with the community."
Oh.
That was her statement.
That's a
right. And right there,
that's
that was
a career ender.
Right. And well, you know what happened, right? That's right.
How you not going to meet with
and
the
any
community?
politician or bureaucrat that's listening, listen to what Stan said. Coming out of your face the wrong way to the community is a career ender. In that town, at least. You can go somewhere and work because they may not know about you. But when that story catches up to you, you're going to be going somewhere else. And I think that's why so many superintendents and those jobs like that are so transitional. Because you commit some chicanery here, and then you can go to Omaha and work. But when that chicanery from here catches up to you, then you have to leave Omaha and go somewhere else. So that is a career ender. So anyway, support is this. When I was in Hartford, and my hats off to Minnie Gonzalez and Edwin Vargas and Angel Arce, because they were politicians who did what nobody else has done in Hartford. I never seen it. They went out publicly as elected officials and criticized the superintendent and criticized the mayor for not getting rid of the superintendent. So my hats off to them. It's one of the few things that I think that they've gotten correct in terms of community. Mm-hmm. So, but support looks like this: when the community comes to you as an elected official, let's say, people from the community come to you and say, "Stan, you're the representative in this district, and we have a concern with the police chief. We don't like the way he's doing things. There's some racial undertones and overtones to the way he's doing it. Whatever." And then you say, "Well, I can't do nothing about that because he works for the mayor." Then you're not being supportive of the community because you're not at least bringing these concerns up to the mayor, right? That's one way that you can support people. Another way is when I was in New Britain and I said to the superintendent, there are 5 mental health workers in a clinic at the high school, mm-hmm. and none of them speak Spanish. And 90% of your students and their families are Spanish speaking. She said to me, "They don't work for me." Then you're not being supportive of the community and your students and the families that you're supposed to work for. Like you always like to stay stand, they work for us, right?
Right,
so
right, absolutely.
That's one way that the superintendent could have been supportive of the community. Another way that her staff that were there mm-hmm. could have supported me in the community, because I'm supporting the community. They could have said to the superintendent, "Well, we have to call them and see if they can change that. Instead of digging their feet in and sticking their head in the ground like she did, right? It's another way that people will support. Another way that workers, staff, teachers could have been supportive of me and the community and themselves is by saying there's a lot for what Mr. Delgado is saying, or there's a lot for what Cacique is saying. We have to look at that instead of watching these people try to tear me down, because I'm speaking up for our children and our families. So that kind of support stand is beneficial to me and the community, right? But it's also beneficial to the people who support me, because we're trying to make some changes in the way that things are done. So that's some ways that support look like, and there was no money involved in any of that support.
Okay,
I just want our viewers to know that support doesn't always have to be monetary. It could be many times, but there's a lot of ways that people can support.
Oh yeah. I see support first and foremost as a non-monetary action. When I talk about support, I'm never ever thinking in terms of money. I like the way you rolled that out in terms of what support looks like. So then, why are so many people fearful?
And that's a great question by the viewer,
right?
And by you.
Now that we understand what support looks like,
that's some of the ways that support looks like. So I just want to give maybe one or two more examples.
Yep.
So people watching this show not only support the show, but they also support some of the narratives that are being rolled out here.
Right.
And that's support. So the reason that many or most black and brown people don't support is look at what happened to Kyrie Irving. There's not a black person that's in media, that's in sports, that's in the entertainment industry that's going to support them, support Kyrie, and saying they're not going to say what you're doing is wrong. There's nobody going to say that, because those are all career enders. There was the possibility that it would have happened that if Kyrie didn't apologize, and he had no reason to apologize for anything, right?
Right.
But if he didn't apologize, he would have never played basketball in the NBA for anyone again. And there's still that chance, because it's funny that we're talking about this. I was reading an article about a survey they took of, I think it was 10 NBA GMs, general managers, and they were all questioned about Kyrie, and the 10 of them said they wouldn't hire him, they wouldn't sign him to nothing right now, because it would upset the Jewish people's sensibilities if he did that. You know, if anybody hired Kyrie. So Nike,
they dropped him. Right.
So here's what support look like, black people.
Stop buying Nike.
Stop buying Nike immediately. If you have stock in Nike, sell it. If you are selling Nike products, if you have a contract with Nike, end it. Well, that's what black and brown support look like.
So that I think great example of what support looks like from a group boycott. But to me, real support for that would be other stars who are associated with Nike say, we want our contract with you terminated. See, because
they're not going to do that.
I know they're not going to do that,
because they've already they don't know this, but all of them, any black so-called black star has already capitulated, you know, just by being involved.
Now see, that brings us full circle back to what I was talking about this system. Engine can't run without a spark plug. When the spark plugs don't work, what do? You replace them.
So more important than the entertainers and the stars saying that, and I've said this on the show before, if all the good people, but particularly black and brown people today said, we're not going to buy any Mobil products, and we're going to cancel our cards today until Mobil makes their gas $2 a gallon. I guarantee you, brother, that by the end of the week, every gas station in America will be selling their gas at $2 a gallon, because Mobil will collapse if people cancel their card today. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to T-Mobile. If we say we're going to cancel every contract that we have with T-Mobile until they make their everything, $40 a month, including taxes, I guarantee you, brother, that by the end of the week, every phone company in America will be $40 for everything, because they can't afford that loss. You know what would happen if just 50,000 people cancel their contract with T-Mobile today in one day? You know what would do to them? So we have the power. The Stars have power because they have the platform where they can reach a lot of people. And that used to be true like before. But today, with the social media, if people who are listening to this show today, if they decided to do something collectively, like I keep talking every week about building a social conscience about what we want to do. So we have more power than Stars, but we just don't know that. We have more powers than politicians and bureaucrats, but we don't know that. So what they do is they manipulate us. So I want to share a word with the audience today that has probably been in everybody's vocabulary their whole life. But today they're going to think about it in a different way. And that word is spell.
A spell like in cast.
Most people are under a spell. How do you believe in religion when there's proof to show you that a lot of that stuff is false, but people will kill you for saying that?
For saying,
look at what
for
happened.
The statement that you just made?
Yeah. Yes. Look at what happened to that brother for writing the Islamic verses. I forgot his name now. But they put a death threat on him. Huh? They put a fatwa on him, and recently, a couple months ago, he was attacked for a book he wrote like 20 or 30 years ago. I forgot his name, man.
So are you
Salman Rushdie?
Right. So
is his name?
Right.
So why would somebody want to kill you for saying something about whatever, whether it's true or not?
When you talk about people's deep beliefs. That's so you could equate it to the animus and venom that many black people have towards white folks because of the racist, bigoted behavior directed toward them. All right, so if you call people
that's
out there,
different, Stan. That doesn't even equate.
When you are a zealot and believe,
what does that have to do with
in the Quran? Like people do. If you speak ill of it, you can expect people to react violently. Yes. You may say that it's fake and false. There's people who believe that racism is a false construct.
I agree.
That it is nothing to be upset about. But that you don't agree with that. So I'm saying that just because somebody, there are people who vehemently, that are zealous about what they believe, and if you attack them in a way that they feel is unnecessary and unjustified, they're willing to defend their position with their lives. They'll set themselves on fire. So when someone's willing to set themselves on fire, they have no problem killing those who blaspheme the particular faith of which people,
I think
hold
we're getting
dear.
a lot of things mixed up here, and I'm confused right now. I want you to
you
explain
brought
to
up
me
about false people. You're calling religion fake, and you're saying that there's proof of that. And so then you jumped over to Russia.
Hold on. I just want you to explain to me and to the audience, what does black people hating white people for their treatment has to do with somebody's belief? How is that? What is the connection to that? a little confused. Please clear that up for me.
Because there's a different. All right.
You may have used the wrong example, and I'm okay with if you say that.
I from time to time I do make mistakes.
Okay, so that's cool. Okay.
In bad analogies, but I double down on the analogy.
Okay.
I believe that race is a false construct.
Okay. And what is your empirical data to back that up?
I have none.
Okay. So see,
I
this
understand.
is what I mean.
I understand that there's racism.
Right.
I understand that there's bigotry.
Right.
But race, we're the human race.
Right.
I think there's plenty of data to support that human beings are human beings.
Yes.
The color of their skin is very hard to determine once they go into the ground and decompose. So a human being is a human being. And we are, more than anything, our consciousness than we are our color. But there are many people who will immediately identify somebody because they're black or brown or Asian or white, and then they will set a whole series of paradigms based upon all kinds of things. So these are things that people find dear and near to their hearts. Now, if somebody happens to be a Christian or Jew or any of the other 4,000 religions, it could be argued that there are religions that are false religions. But who am I to say that what somebody believes is false simply because I don't believe it? I could be wrong and they could be right. And so I'm not willing to say that. So faith, we don't get into a whole theological debate, but faith is something that you step out and believe. It doesn't require fact. It's not science, it's faith. And so if the Bible says that the just shall live by faith, then it's a conscious decision that you choose to embrace. And because one disbelieves it does not mean that it isn't so. You don't believe it, that we respect that. But that you're not believing it doesn't make it so. So if you talk about the book that Salman Rushdie wrote, he has a worldwide death warrant on him.
They got him recently. They didn't kill him, but they stabbed him.
They tried to kill him.
Yeah, they tried to kill him. Yes.
Right. You can get a worldwide death warrant on you too if you hit a mob boss. People. So what is the justification for robbing the money bag man of his money? That's mob money. And now there's a hit out on your life. What is that all about? So people react violently when you offend them. What the offense is relative to the individual. So there's no big mystery there, in my opinion.
Okay, well, we'll go with that, Stan. I just didn't understand the connection. Thank you for clearing that up. Right. And in fact, because of I'm a person of deep faith, I make a conscious decision to follow Jesus Christ. I believe in the Word of God. So there are many who disbelieve. Now I'm not going out and kill anybody, but it is my acceptance of people is based in that foundation. Because everybody is the same. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So there are none that are righteous, not one. So we are all in deep need of redemption and salvation. So I treat people like they're better than me. Who am I to make a judgment on the character of an individual? And so that's just who I am. And I'm not imposing that on somebody else that they need to accept my consciousness. I think that in the marketplace of ideas, you put the ideas out there and then people can choose for themselves. I respect everybody's choice to believe or not to believe. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with me. So it's like, I don't know, being gay. I respect people who are, who choose to identify, you know what I'm saying? Because it has nothing to do with me personally. As as a person, it doesn't impact me, personally. So I respect, but I do have my own, ideas. I don't know if I have beliefs. I have my own ideas of how things are and what is right and what is wrong, and so I think that one of my beliefs is that I believe that most people are born with the ability to discern what right and wrong is, and kind of have a general consensus. More people will agree with, more people will agree that domestic violence is wrong, no matter who, the man or the woman.
Yes, very wrong.
Verbal or physical. You're gonna get most people to agree with that.
I would hope so.
Right. But, you're going to get some people that may say that, hey, that's none of my business or whatever, however they characterize it, right? So I think that one of my beliefs is that most people are born, with the ability to discern what right and wrong is. And that is something that I believe in, so that's one of my deep beliefs. So when I see people doing things, I think that they do it by choice.
I agree with you 100%. Everything is choice. We make conscious decisions.
And so learning to, because there's deep knowledge in everything, Stan, and I talk about this, right? So there's superficial knowledge, and there's knowledge to that, under that, and there's knowledge under that, and knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And so it comes back to the beginning in everything, so we have to be appreciative of that, that we have the ability to make choices, and being respectful of those choices, as long as they don't hurt you or your family or your community, is fine.
Yes, as they say, your right to throw a punch ends at my nose.
As long as you didn't throw one first.
Right.
Then that's exactly where it's going to land.
Right. So, one reaps what one sows. If you throw a punch and it hits my nose, then there may be another one coming back.
That's right. And you can't be mad about that.
No. So, all right. Well, morning talk. A lot of stuff in the comments here. We are more conscious than coal. COLE. Like that. I'm not sure I understand that.
It could be a misspelling.
Okay.
What they used to call a typo.
Okay.
A typographical error.
That could be. And I'm sure she'll clear that up. What does a successful 2022 boycott look like? Well,
first of all, 2022 is almost over. So whatever boycott y'all got planned, you better roll that out today. And I think that a successful boycott in 2023, the community has to put pressure on the stars. And so we have, hold on real quick before we go on break. I just want to say that we've had a lot of people that have not capitulated and came back on their own terms. Dave Chappelle walked away from 50 million.
Absolutely.
He said, I'm not doing a woman's thing. And there's a lot of good stuff about how there's a lot of scientists, right, that have manipulated things and systems. Right. And I think people
hold that thought.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dave Chappelle is the man. Genius. Comic, social commentary genius.
So Stan, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
He is he's masterful. He is knowledgeable. But there's others. Denzel Washington talks about how he was offered roles that he refused. And so a lot of these people have been, blackballed, like they say, right? Another brother I want to mention, magnificent brother, Craig Hodges, Chicago Bulls, gave President Bush a letter, never played in the NBA again. He gave him a letter about how black people were treated and how he can help. Handed him this letter. Never played in one of the best shooters in the NBA ever. And we talk about Colin Kaepernick, but there was a brother who was so magnificent, and he, his skill set was unparalleled when he played. Abdul Mahmoud Rauf played for the Nuggets. Brother refused to stand for the anthem, and he was pushed out of the NBA. Played recently in the Big Three, which was a league by one of the rappers.
Mm-hmm.
And he played, and he was still killing them, Stan. He looked like he could still, at 50, he looked like he could still play in the NBA. And this brother was also blackballed. So we've had brothers. How about them brothers at the Olympics? They had their medals taken from them.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy John and the other brother's name evades me right now.
Mm-hmm.
But so we've had people all along who have not capitulated. We've had excellent. They lost their careers.
Well, see, to me, that to me becomes the defining factor. When you have examples of people who stood up, that disqualifies those who have arguments for why they didn't and don't. We understand it's difficult. We understand that you make a sacrifice, but you didn't stand up, period. Then there's no wishy-washy back and forth with that. Not only did Dave Chappelle do his stand-up thing and took out all kind of heat, not only did he walk away after the whole Kyrie Ye thing, he went on Saturday Night Live and gave a master class on how to talk about any issue.
He killed them.
Killed them. And crickets. They're not going to say anything about him. They're not going to say anything. Because if they do, he will double, triple, quadruple down.
He's not backing down.
He's not backing down. And that's what we need to have. See, until people stand up and then double down, have that. Well, if you want to come for me, fine. Give it your best shot, because you're only going to get one. Make sure you don't miss. Take me out all the way. Collapse the lungs. Otherwise, wrath rolls back on you. That's the way. That's how you stand up. So that then you flip the paradigm. Instead of you being afraid to talk about people are afraid to talk about you.
Well,
folk back down when they talk about your people. They back down when they talk about your culture. But that won't come if you don't stand up. And the worst thing to me is to take a stand and then
back down.
Yeah, that's worse than not taking a stand.
Well, but I'm kind of happy that happened, Stan, because it shows other black and brown people what's waiting for them and why you have to have courage. You know what I'm saying? You got to have courage. There's no question about that.
Doesn't have courage.
So Stan, that's why we have to
that's why they back down.
We have to uplift, and we have to keep in our minds and in our mouths the great ones, because we built from that. You know what I'm saying? We built from that, and that's why we have to honor the people who are doing the right thing. They don't have to be elected. They don't have to be famous. We have people in our community that are doing great things, that we have to uplift them, right? And we don't do that. So this whole conversation is about support and what support looks like. whenever one of ours is being taken down, we have to say that ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. You know, so I'm just happy to have been able to do the things that I've done. And I just want to put this out there to the community right now. I've had this conversation with you, but I want to make it public because of my criticism of politicians and the police. I want the community to know that I do not own a gun. I don't own a licensed or unlicensed gun. I don't have a weapon at all. Okay, so because of my criticisms, I'm always expecting them to, break my door down. I'm putting it out there. I'm a cannabis vendor. I'm not ashamed of it. But I don't own a weapon. So if they ever come at me and they told you that I had a weapon, you know that they're lying. Because that's what they do a lot. They want to make you a criminal. They want to make you this bad person. But the community knows me. I'm a grandfather. I'm a father. I'm a cacique. I'm a leader. I'm not involved in chicanery or stupidity. You know what I'm saying? But I have to make a living. So I just want the community to know that I'm one of those people that have not capitulated at any point in time. And I won't.
Well, this is a good thing. They will always come after you, to a certain degree, the plant evidence, if they want to come get you, they will come and get you. We know this to be true. More than a few have been taken out. But that doesn't mean
different.
That you
I have something different than most people. And Kyrie had it, but he didn't use it. Because he wasn't brought up in it. I have the protection of my ancestors.
Well, amen.
And they're with me all the time. They're with me right now. Right? And that's my belief.
You and I are on the same page. I think we articulate it a little bit differently. Walk by faith and not by sight. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. I honestly believe that. To me, leadership begins when you're willing to take a bullet for the people you serve.
Yes.
To me, that's.
But it shouldn't come to that.
No, but it actually should.
It shouldn't come to
because
that.
Because the king is supposed to lead the army into battle. He's not supposed to be in a bunker playing power golf in Kenny Bunkport.
No.
The king leads his troops, and then when you capture the king, the war is over. So if you're going to be a leader, to me, I can only speak for Stan, not necessarily the truth.
Of course.
Leadership means you're willing. That doesn't mean you want to. It doesn't mean you have to. It doesn't mean that you don't have means by which to defend. But it means that you're willing to sacrifice all for the people. I've heard folks say straight out, I'm not signing up for that. That's not what I signed up for.
Right.
That the people are actually last.
Well, I think that leadership also is different, for me. So for me, and I've been blessed, everywhere that I've been, there's been people sent there by my ancestors to make sure that I was protected. So for me, leadership talks about when a brother like Kyrie, right, when he goes out there and he says what he says and then he's attacked. Leadership now is the community's initiative. It's not his anymore. Once he takes that step or that leap of faith, like they say, right, the community has to be there. And when that doesn't happen, then what we see what the outcome is, right? When a brother or a sister take a leap of faith, they jump off the cliff into the air, the community has to be there to make sure that he or she lands safely. And when that doesn't happen, we see the outcome. Because sometimes when your mind plays tricks on you, Stan, when a person takes a leap of faith and there's no support, then they go like this. Then they say, to hell with that. I'm taking a leap of faith, not just for myself, for a lot of people, because I don't have to. I'm in a position where I don't have to take a leap of faith. I got money. I got fame. I got whatever.
Well,
so when they do that and there's no support, they say, wait a minute, hold up.
I,
If they're not going to support me, then I'm not going to support them. That's weakness.
okay,
That's doubt settling
in the mind of the one that's taking the leap of faith.
in the mind of the one that's taking the leap, because he took a leap of faith, but it turns out that they really didn't have faith. Because if he would have doubled down and said, listen, I want to play in the NBA, and I want that to be clear. There's no question about it. But there's no reason. I haven't done anything or done anything for me to apologize, so therefore I'm not. And that's it. That's the end of the story. And if he would have did something like that, and then the NBA said, Kyrie not gonna play no more because he's not apologizing, and then other NBA players, Stan, and analysts and stars, my man Spike Lee, I haven't heard him say a word. If Spike Lee would have came forward and said, you know what, I love the Knicks, but I'm canceling my season tickets because of what happened to this brother. I didn't hear one person, one notable say, hey, I'm not going back to the, you know what I'm saying? So when there's no support, they can manipulate that. They can play on that.
Well, I would,
because now Kyrie is an example.
Oh, he's an example.
Don't forget, buck breaking. Breaking.
I would say that he they're not breaking him. He is broken. Period. And I say that in this light, from which we started off with this particular conversation, he is on the plantation, and everyone else is on the plantation too. Most people don't yell up when you're getting beat, dragged, and quartered about how raw they're treating you. They keep their mouth shut.
Yes.
So to that extent, when you say the community, leadership, the community is not leading. Now, there's some who disagree with me. I believe that the community needs to be led. There are leaders and then there are followers. Why would anyone expect the followers to jump up and come to your rescue when you should be the leader and set the tone? You see what I'm saying?
I'm not making excuses for Kyrie or for anybody. But when you have been raised to understand that ultimately you must capitulate. If that's your base of orientation, Stan, if that's all you know, if you don't know
then you're
that
on the
something
plantation.
else exists, yes, you're on the plantation.
You're on the plantation.
Right. But, we're going to break him out.
All right.
Because I'm the modern day Harriet Tubman.
All right.
And I've made a lot of black and brown people black and brown again. They forgot that they were that, and I made them that again.
Right.
And I want to bring that brother, I'm going to bring him home. And others. Yes, we're going to bring them home.
All right. We're on a rescue mission to rescue your mind from the plantation of all kinds of things.
Listen, and that train that I'm leading is going to go through that little activity that the African American Alliance is going through. So you tell all them brothers and sisters that freedom train is coming.
Oh, you're talking about the party?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to you being there. Should be fun.
I'm bringing the freedom train, Stan. Cacique.
I can guarantee you that this Saturday is going to be
a lot of fun.
One for the memory banks. No doubt about that. All right, he's talking about the party for the African American Alliance.
Bring your dictionary.
Yeah.
For all the people that are limited with their words. Bring your dictionary so you can have more than one or two words to define experiences.
Hard break coming up. Stick and Stay will be right back. Morning Talk.
How do you define evil? Is it the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they are fighting for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for constituents to flip the script and leave the plantation of party politics and free your political mind.
Good afternoon. My name is Nwalki Tete. I'm a parent to a student in Hartford High. And I would say the program was very good. It taught us a lot about how to deal with our kids, how to handle situations. So I would say it's good for all parents to partake if you can. And our coach was very good. She taught us a lot about the Parents University. So I'm so happy and I'm glad I took part in the Parents University. So thank you so much. Love you. My name is Nwalki Tete. Bye.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. Want to remind you, every morning, 8 o'clock, 7 days a week, it's Morning Talk. Be sure to tune in, and always stimulating conversation. Great guests, and just great time. And then those of you who are so inclined, night times at 10, mornings at 10, Light Switch Victory Television Live. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hey, Stan, and real quick, man, I just want to say this, that, whatever comments I make on this show are not meant to offend or hurt anybody. I'm just interested in spurning conversation. I don't want people to think like me. I just want them to think. And I just want to say that to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from. These are conversations that need to be had, as uncomfortable as it may make some people. We need to put things out in the open. So thank you, family, for understanding and for your support. We're very grateful for your support.
All right. Well, that's cool. He did that on his own. I didn't during the break tell him he had to say something like that, just so the folk know.
No, I don't do that, Stan. I don't. Right.
Right. I don't want anybody thinking.
I ain't nobody's pet.
Right,
I just want to say that I ain't nobody's pet. My words are my own, and I stand by them.
I like that. No anonymous posts. I used to always say that my views, the views of the host, do not reflect the views of those of the network or those associated with the network. They are my own. I own them. You may think they're wrong, but I know they're right. So I have to maintain that air of arrogance.
Yeah.
So that I don't.
But I don't know if it's arrogance, Stan. I think that in Texas, they say if you could do it, it ain't bragging.
There you go. I like that.
So you're doing it, Stan. So you're not being pompous or bragging or anything. You're just doing your job, brother, and you're doing excellent, man.
Oh, I try. Any big ups?
Yes, definitely, man. I have some big ups. First of all, I have some big ups for some of our great ancestors that are no longer with us, and I'm grateful to them for opening doors for us, and allowing us access. And remember, we talked about that word, access. That's an important word for us to become familiar with, because we have to understand what that is. So first, I want a big shout out, man, to a great ancestor. She was a good friend of my mom's and my brothers and I, Olga Millie, Puerto Rican woman. She was the first social worker in Hartford that was of a Boricua. And Maria Sanchez was our first elected official. Maria Rodriguez was one of our great, incredible educators here. And then we're going to move on to the great Ella Cromwell, Trudy Merrill, and Ray Montero. Ray Montero was a state rep from Rice Heights. He got my mom involved in politics, and my mom got all her friends involved, in all of her kids and her friends' kids. We all used to, pass out literature in the neighborhood and stuff. So big shout out to them for opening the doors for us to the knowledge of how the political system worked. These were people who faced a lot of stuff, but they were magnificent. And then Brother Fred Phillips, who's with us today, and George Shorty Davis, man. I love that guy. He's such a magnificent brother, man. George, I hope you're listening, man. Big shout out to the work that you and the organization called
Men Against Violence.
Men Against Violence, man. You guys are doing an incredible job. I'm so happy for you guys, man, and the way that you guys are greeting the kids at the beginning of the year, man. I love it. The kids love it. And that's what I call community right there. Thank you, brothers.
Yeah, I think it's Men Standing Against
Violence. Men Standing Against Violence. Yeah, so thank you for the work that you do. Yeah. It's incredible. And then, I don't want to forget I forgot to mention this brother last week. But here's a brother, Stan, who hasn't capitulated and is winning some battles in court and is holding people accountable. And Chris. I just want to say, Chris Dukes.
Chris Dukes, absolutely.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for just being a magnificent brother. You hear me, Chris? Thank you for being a magnificent brother. You've shown us that we can fight back, that we don't have to capitulate. We don't have to accept the things that, how many brothers are in jail because they had to plead down to something that they didn't do? Thank you for holding it down, brother. And good luck in everything that you do. May the ancestors guide your words, your steps, and your actions.
Amen.
Peace, brother.
Yeah, I can't wait to get him back.
For an update.
For an update. Because, there's so many things involved that he can't really speak.
And the organization that he's involved with now.
But I will say this. You all need to watch on CTN the Supreme Court hearing. Did you watch that?
No.
You need to watch the Supreme Court hearing on his case for restoration of his wages, because he is totally vindicated. First of all, he was falsely accused of the crime, period. So there is no crime. But they're trying to punish him for something. In essence, the state wants to punish him
for being right,
for being falsely accused.
So let me interject something real quick, Stan. And this is something else. We talked about access, and we talk about criminalization. So here's another thing that we have to be aware of when we're dealing with things like this, right? This is another strategy that white folks use to push back against us.
The false accusation.
No. They're mad at us for bringing to their attention that they're committing crimes against us. Just being racist, then they get mad at us for saying that. So now this is the same thing that Chris Dukes is facing, because there were police involved in this and prosecutors, okay, that knew early in the game that the brother, he ain't do nothing. There was nothing to it. They knew, but they pushed. So now talk about accountability and talk about black and brown support. How many black politicians, elected officials, bureaucrats, and others who are completely aware of this case and have not made one call to support this brother? Okay? So that's the strategy. They're mad at Chris. He got fired from his job for no cause. There's a dude that has raped a woman or something still working there. And I want to say this. I'm completely disappointed in the president of Central Connecticut State University, because that's a sister. That's an indigenous sister.
That doesn't
That's a
mean
brown
anything.
woman. It should mean a lot.
It should.
It should mean a lot.
When you are on the plant, there's nothing more dangerous than a person who's committed to life on the plantation.
Listen, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say this again. Black and brown people, stop apologizing for the crimes for white people, for the crimes that they commit against us. Crimes were committed at Central Connecticut State University against Chris Dukes. Crimes were committed against Chris Dukes by the Hartford Police Department. Who's holding these people accountable? And we're going to end the show today on that, accountability. Thank you, family, so much, man. It's a pleasure to be here serving you. Any questions, any concerns, you know where to find me. You can hit Stand and I up if there's a question about the show. And if you need support because you're going through something about in your job, people are being racist, they're discriminating against you. Families, if your kids are being mistreated in school, give me a call. I'm coming. And I got a lot of people behind me, man. So thank you so much, and blessings to everyone.
All right, my friends. Well, that'll end it for today. Accountability. All right. It begins with y'all. With you. All right. Big election coming up in 2023 for municipal. That means mayor. That means city council people, treasurer, all kind of stuff happening. It's your government, my friends. It's your government. The party may be running things, but remember, you are the real power. And, get involved in what's happening here in 2023 so that you hire the right person that's going to serve your needs. We'll see you next time. Y'all have a great day. Bye.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I do business as Light Source Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be. But let's say a big event, but no video. And you spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. Give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.